Good morning. It is a beautiful morning. Well, it's actually right almost at noon, and I have a really big job to do today. So, yeah, just getting ready to get started on it. I'm at my friend Aja's homestead in Arizona. She graciously let me come here to do this project I'm about to do. And it does get cold here. Her homestead is at just above 6,000 feet in elevation. And it does snow here and get kind of cold in the winter. But today, yeah, it's going to be about 70. It's really beautiful here. Gorgeous. So for the last year or so, I've really suffered from low energy. But I got a prescription, and I'm pretty excited about it. And the prescription is a 100 amp hour lithium battery. Got some screws and a user guide. I'm pretty excited about this battery because, well, my old battery is just over 5 years old and it really is at the end of its life. I don't even know if it has 60% of its power left. So my old battery is an AGM battery. It has less than half this power and it weighs more than double. This battery weighs a little over 25 pounds. According to their website, and my battery definitely weighs over 50 pounds. Dr. Prepare sent me this battery, and I'm very thankful because I've really been trying to get a battery for about the last year. Only the problem is I had nowhere to ship a 75 plus pound battery. So the battery I was looking at on Amazon was 120 or 25 amp hour battery. But it was an AGM battery, and so that makes it really heavy. And normally I have things shipped to a UPS store, but they don't accept a package over 50 pounds. I didn't know where to have it shipped. Last year at this time I was going to have it shipped to my parents' house, but we ended up not getting together for the holidays for very obvious reasons. So here we are, and Dr. Prepare was like, hey, would you be interested in a 100 amp hour battery? I was like, yes, I would. I also bought a new charge controller. I had bought that over a year ago, specifically because this model was waterproof, but it also supports a lithium battery. And I'm really glad I bought this particular one just because, yeah, it does support a lithium. I'm going to install this battery today, and I also wanted to show you my solar setup, which I believe is the simplest solar setup that you can do. It is just really simple, one battery, one solar panel. Yeah, all right, let's get started. Here in my camper, I've taken the bed out. Right here's where the battery's at. And yeah, that's the old battery. That's very dusty because, yeah, there's a vent in here. And the vent lets in all the dust from the past 5 years. So let's take that out. Gosh. Oh, man, that's heavy. Oh my gosh, that's a heavy one. This thing, definitely less than half. What I really wanted to do was to hook everything up out here on the table to kind of show you how simple it is. But unfortunately, when I took my other battery out, I discovered that, like, the cables in there are connected to every other cable. And literally they're all spliced together, and I can't get one cable out to plug it in to show you. But I'm going to explain everything to you right now. All right, first, right here, I have my 100-watt solar panel. This is a folding suitcase panel that easily slides into the back of my car. And you have to plug the solar panel into a solar charge controller. And I have this one here that I bought a year ago, as I said. And this charge controller controls how much energy goes into your battery. So I have my battery here, and now I've got my battery filling up with energy. I need to get it out. In order to get the battery out, I have an inverter here. I bought this inverter about a year and a half ago. It's a 1,000 watt inverter, which is more than I need. But the reason I bought it was because it had a little LCD readout with the info on it. A lot of people have no idea how the solar panel gets energy into, a refrigerator or your computer or whatever. And so hopefully I can explain a little bit of it here and kind of clear things up. Yeah, I think first off, let's finish getting our insulation into the camper. So as you can see, this is the battery vent from the outside. And what I want to do is I want to double side tape this to the inside to prevent cold air from blowing in. Yeah, I want to try to insulate that inside just a little bit more since this is a lithium battery. All right, here's the battery box again. And as you see, I put some double-sided tape all around the vent to stick the insulation to. Hopefully, the couple layers of Reflectix there will help insulate the battery. All right, you can see I created another little mat that the battery will sit on out of Reflectix. Gosh, the lighting here is terrible. Let me get a light. All right, as you can see, I took another piece of Reflectix and created a mat that the battery will sit on. And along with the other piece of Reflectix, I'm hoping this will insulate the battery a little bit against cold. All right. We can hook up the negative side first. There's actually, let's see, these are negatives. So let's put these together. A nut. All right. Oh, that is not going anywhere. All right, now theoretically, our camper should tell us we have a battery. All right, let's look here. All right, I have a USB plug here and another one, and that is my battery monitor, 13.1. All right, it's in. All right, everything is down in there and it's all hooked up, and I want to show you this super simple electrical that I've got going on here. My camper's a 1985, which means it's, almost 37 years old, and it's still on the road. I mean, that is a real testament to, this camper, that it's still on the road. But essentially what I have here, I'll just turn it around and point. All right, so this wire here, it's got this Anderson quick connect. The charging cable that goes outside and connects to the charge controller and solar panel. And yeah, it's just connected to the battery there. And this goes up under here and goes under there and comes out a hole on the other side. There's another cable in there connected to the battery, and that comes out right here. And this connects to my inverter. So when I need AC power, I plug my inverter in, and it's got the same quick connect. And so yeah, let's plug it in real quick. All right, as you see, I have this cable and the quick connect, which is all plugged in now. Yeah, everything gets dusty in here, very dusty. And then here's my inverter. And hopefully that will tell us, oh, yep, it's got 13.1, you see right there. So obviously that matches with what my voltage meter here reads, 13.1. This battery's charged, awesome. Anyway, yeah, that's just how simple it is. That's my entire electrical system. The AC and the DC is completely separate. So I have 3 LED lights that run off DC. So when I plug in to AC power, it doesn't charge anything in here. It doesn't charge my battery or anything because they're completely separate. The only way I truly have to charge the battery is through its solar. So it doesn't even charge off my car. It might bump up a tiny bit, but I think the wires are too small or something, so it doesn't really charge off the car. Super duper simple solar. All right, let's go outside. Here, right here. And we will walk around here. And let me show you right here on this side where the solar comes out. So obviously right here is the battery. And again, I put Reflectix in there to insulate the battery. And this is the charging port. As I had mentioned, here's my portable solar panel and the charge controller. So tomorrow I'm going to hook up this one, and I've kind of looked at it and it will mount right here. There's a little mounting plate. Anyway, I'm going to do this tomorrow. I want to put my camper back together before the sun goes down. So yeah, let me put my bed and everything back in there. All right.
What color is it? Yellow. Yeah. See. There you go. Oh, it worked this time. Making sure everything is speech. There you go. You're good to go. I just still like these better. They just do a better clamp.
Takes more muscle on those.
Yes, they do. Turn it. Thank you.
Slowly roasting over.
Ta-da!
Yay!
Okay.
So
Oh, this
happy.
is the old controller?
Yep, that's the old one.
And here is the new one. Voyager.
Good morning. All right, we're going to finish up this project in just a few minutes. And what we're doing is we're going to put the charge controller on the solar panel and plug it in and set it for lithium. because this is a lithium compatible charge controller. And it's going to be beautiful. Last night, I went over and pestered my friends, Aja and Jeff, and they were so gracious. They put little ring connectors on the ends of my wires that go to the charge controller, which is a huge, huge help. I could go buy that stuff, but it's really kind of difficult to go buy stuff when you're only going to use it like once every 2 or 3 years. So thankfully they had everything, and yeah. So I've got ring connectors, and this is going to be super duper simple right now. Whew. Coke and coffee, yeah. Need my caffeine in the morning. All right. This is my solar panel face down, and this is my charge controller, and we're going to mount it right there. So we just need to put all the screws in here. All right, I've pushed all the wires through this little rubber gasket that goes on here. So, yep, plus and minus. So let's put the solar ones on first. It tells you where the solar is and the battery. The 2 wires that go to the battery. So this is not plugged in. Thankfully, the charge controller came with these tiny little bolts and nuts to mount it like this. Now you might be wondering why I mount the charge controller on the panel like that, and the reason is very simple. It's because it was like that when I bought it. The original charge controller that came with the panel was mounted right there, although a bit poorly because it was double-sided taped on. And then I had to replace it. The original charge controller failed in a little bit less than 2 years, and I bought this charge controller, which is really not in the best of shape right now. All right, we want to connect the charge controller to the battery before it gets any power from the solar panel. So we need to set it up so that it knows this is a lithium battery. And I've done this with the other charge controllers too, where I just cover up the solar panel completely with the case it came with. And yeah, then I plug in and make sure everything is fine, and then I just take off the cover, and yay. So let's set up the charge controller. So I turned around the panel really quick just so you can get a good view of the screen. Here's goes to the charge controller. Here's my battery plug-in. I just have a quick connect. As you can see, as soon as I plugged it in, it starts scrolling through some information. And I have the owner's manual here, so I'm going to set it to the lithium. Okay, so we want to go to the screen for battery voltage, and then hold down this for 3 to 5 seconds. And when it begins flashing, oh, it's on lithium. So that is what we want. That is the correct battery type. There is a gel and a flood battery, and yeah, anyway, there's these other types here too. But yeah, we're good to go. All right, the correct battery type is chosen. Yeah, so as you can see, it just scrolls through the different information showing the battery voltage, and it shows the temperature. The temperature is not correct, by the way. It's not even 70 yet. It shows what the panel is putting out, and in amps as well, so that it's putting out 5.7 amps here. And I don't even know what this screen is, but yeah, it's charging the battery. That's what we want. One thing I wanted to point out about my super simple solar setup is that the wires I have putting power into the battery and going to my inverter to take power out, they're number 10 wires. And a number 10 wire is supposed to be able to handle up to 30 amps. I definitely do not have anything that can take anywhere near that amount of power. This 100-watt solar panel that I'm using can only put out, well, it puts out less than 6 amps in full sunshine. So obviously that's not getting anywhere near the limit, and yeah, I just don't have anything that can pull anywhere near 30 amps. So the number 10 wires work absolutely perfect for this situation. As a matter of fact, you could use number 12 wires. I like to go a little bigger. So this here is my old battery, and it is a little smaller in dimensions, but more than twice the weight and far less than half the power. So this battery, I looked it up last night online, and it has either 76 or 78 amp hours. But since it's an AGM battery, you can only use half of those amp hours. So in reality, it has either like 38 or 39 usable amp hours. So I now have a 100 amp hour lithium battery, and I can use 100% of that power. But I had talked to a couple people, and they said to make your battery last a lot longer, if you only bring it down to 20%, then you'll get the most life out of your lithium battery. And that will be really easy for me. Yeah, I just have like some electronics that I'm using, my laptop mostly, or, charging a drone battery and my camera batteries and my phone and tablet, things like that. All right, I'm just going to sit down for a couple minutes, enjoy my drink, and look at my new battery user guide. And there are a couple of really big differences between lithium and a regular either AGM or gel or whatever the traditional batteries are. Obviously, the big thing is double the power in half the space or half the weight. But one of the big things I want to point out is the temperature. So there is a charging temperature range and a discharging temperature range. And those are really important. With my old battery, I really didn't care. I would plug in my solar panel and it would snow on it, and I would get up in the morning and sweep the snow off, and my battery would definitely be below freezing. And yeah, I just didn't pay any attention to that. But I'm going to have to now. I don't think that's going to be a really big deal for me. So you cannot charge the battery at below freezing, at below 32 degrees. That's a big thing. But you can discharge it all the way down to 14 degrees. So, yeah, so you just want to make sure not to try to charge the battery if it's below freezing. If you put the battery inside your coach where the temperature is controlled, that's probably the best case scenario for any battery. I don't have that luxury. I mean, it's in my coach, obviously, but yeah, I can't really control the temperature because, yeah, that box in there is more or less sealed now. So what I plan on doing is simply unplugging my battery at night if it's predicted to get below freezing. So that'll be simple. And it's not very often I get in a place where it's below 14 degrees, but if I do, I just won't use it. I don't have a kill switch on my battery, which you can just turn and it cuts off all power going to and from the battery. I wish I had something like that in an easily accessible place, and maybe I'll put that in there. Well, all right. That wraps up this fun little project. I do think this is the simplest solar setup you can get. Just one solar panel, one battery, a charge controller, and an inverter to get the power back out. And I guess the wires too. But yeah, this is great. I hate to mention prices for batteries because it changes so quickly these days. But I did just look just now, and it is $5.99 for a 100 amp hour lithium battery, and there is a BEX code, a super secret BEX code down below. I'm going to put all the information in the description, a link and the code and everything. So yeah, the BEX code ever is going to be in the description for 10% off. So definitely check that out. Yeah, thanks, Dr. Prepare, for sending me a 100 amp hour battery. That's awesome. And thanks to my friend Aja for hosting me on her property because, yeah, I had to take all sorts of stuff out and just lay it around. And yeah, I didn't want to be on public property looking like, like the homeless person I am. All right. Good night.